This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Angie Toews is with Earl Lewis from the Kansas Water Office.
Angie Toews joining you with KFRM with Earl Lewis, and we're discussing the water policies and where you've come. Kansas has a great vision, and they've been doing this for 5 years now. And where are we at on that vision?
Yeah, obviously I'd say we're in the middle, right? I mean, these are long-term problems. There's a long-term vision to try and solve them, and so we've made some progress. We think about the Ogallala, we've got 15 water technology farms, for example, and we've got a number of water conservation areas and LEMAs. So we're making some progress, but you know, if you look at where we're at from what we need to really get to a long-term sustainable situation there, we've got a ways to go. And that's the same thing with our reservoirs, our water quality as well. Progress, but frankly our progress is pretty slow. We've got a long way to go.
And where do you see progress going at this point?
Well, again, I think if we look at our groundwater situation, the answer is pretty simple, right? We're taking out more water than Mother Nature's putting back, so we got to reduce that. And so how do you get that answer implemented is what makes difficult. And as you know, there's thousands of farmers out there that are taking part in that activity, and so we need more of those folks to buy in. And so it's kind of a one person at a time or one area at a time, trying to educate folks on how they can be more productive and make money while conserving water. And again, it's the same thing as we move to eastern Kansas, whether it's nutrients or sediment, how people can keep that sediment and nutrients on their property and make money, maybe even more than they have in the past, and help out the resources as well.
Now, do we see more tech farms coming in the future and more irrigation savings? Yeah,
we continue to expand. You know, we started out 4 years ago with 3 tech farms, and now we're up to 15, and we're currently looking for some additional farms for next year. And so if there's folks that are interested in participating, give our office a call. We can try and hook you up with the right staff member and see if it's a good fit for you and a good fit for us.
Now, is there certain requirements that they have to have for those tech farms in order to get started?
Yeah, and so, you know, each one's a little different because each individual producer's situation is different. And so we try and tailor what happens on their farm to their situation in their region. But certainly if we're in an area that we have declining resource, then we want that person to be invested. If you're going to get the state dollars as part of this deal, then we want to see that there's going to be commitment on the water conservation side as well. And that's really about the extent of it, because again, we don't know which technologies are going to work. That's the whole point of this exercise and this effort. And so we want to keep that as flexible as we can so that we get those private companies bringing their technology in, and we get the producers comfortable with those technologies that they think will work for them.
And along with the tech farms, are we seeing more farms that are producing sorghum and hemp that are using those water-saving qualities?
You know, I think that's a great question. And so there is research being done both on sorghum and hemp to try and determine what the water savings is and how we can be, again, more productive with less water. And so that's, you know, kind of a genetic technology, if you will, that we're trying to explore. And that's obviously a long-term effort as well.
And if we continue on the path that we're on, what do we see in the next few years?
Well, you know, we talk a lot about the problems because that's kind of the nature of the business that we're in. But, you know, in a lot of places, we're really in pretty good shape. You know, we still have a good resource. Our waters are not, you know, terribly polluted. Not that we don't have some issues that we need to address, but by and large, we're in pretty good shape. And so what we're talking about is making progress so that, you know, as whoever is in this position or any other position across the state in 20, 30, 40, 50 years can come and say, we're even in a better state than we were as I'm talking to you today. And so, I think getting more and more people involved, understanding that we're trying to work with folks rather than work at them is I think, where we're going to make the most progress.
And now that we're getting more people on board, is the funding becoming easier, or are we still kind of stuck?
Yeah, funding's always tough, as you'd expect, and as probably as it should be, right? We want to make sure that whatever we're putting before the legislature and the taxpayers is valid projects that make a difference and should be taxpayer funded. And obviously there's a lot of demands on the state dollars, whether that's education or or maybe Medicaid expansion and transportation and all those other things that are really bigger ticket items. And so trying to make sure that we get water seat at the table, if you will, is always difficult, and trying to balance the state budget's a tough thing for the legislators to do.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Angie Toews with Earl Lewis.
Thanks, Angie. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.